I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Howling Dark, book number 2 in the Sun Eater saga by my good friend, Mr. Christopher Ruocchio. That's right, Ruocchio. Now, I hang out with Christopher at some of the Comic-Cons in Bard's Tower on the showroom floor as we are signing books and meeting fans. And I've seen Christopher describe his Sun Eater saga like this. It's, imagine Anakin Skywalker if becoming Darth Vader were the right thing to do. I think that's the way he describes it, mostly to people. That's like his elevator pitch. I listen to him say it over and over and over and over to all the people that come by to get their books signed and to buy books from him, and I still have no idea what that means. Imagine Anakin Skywalker as if becoming Darth Vader were the right thing to do. Still clueless. But I'm beginning to figure it out. You know, book 1, Empire of Silence. I reviewed that. You can find my review of that somewhere on my channel. Now we're doing book 2, and I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get the elevator pitch. As if Darth Vader were becoming the right thing to do. Becoming Darth Vader were the right thing to do. Because this book is dark. It's howling dark. That's how dark it is. The darkness is actually howling. This book, the basic setup of this book is we've got our character Hadrian, who's a nobleman's son in a nobleman's family, and he thinks he's going to inherit all of the nobleman's power and wealth and prestige. But he gets kicked out of the family, and he goes off on an intergalactic adventure of his own where he has to find himself. He's kind of become like a bastard son at this point, a lost son, a prodigal son. And he just goes off on his adventure in book number 1. I won't get into that too much, but if you love gladiators, there's gladiator stuff. If you love, here's the thing. I have not read books. Christopher Ruocchio writes like Frank Herbert. This is the closest to Dune that I have come across in all my many years and hundreds of books, science fiction books that I've read. This is the closest I have come to Frank Herbert's Dune in not only world building, but storytelling and just plain awesome writing. That's how awesome these books are. And it starts off with this book. So if you like Dune, sort of mixed with, Name of the Wind, because it's got a real Name of the Wind feel where our main character is, he's an old man at the beginning. He's kind of retelling his story about what he went through as a kid all the way up till the point where he's telling the story, kind of like Pat Rothfuss does in Name of the Wind, where he sets it up. Hey, I killed the king. I'm the king killer. I did all these things. Well, Hadrian in this one, he's the same thing. Hey, I exterminated an entire race and exterminated an entire alien race. I'm known as the Sun Eater, the this, the that, the other. And that's how we get started in book 1. And we go off on an adventure with him as sort of the prodigal son that's been kicked out of the family. And now we are into Howling Dark, where things just spiral into dark territory. And not only that, but it's just such a great, and I'm telling you, massively action-packed sequel to this first book. This first book was awesome. This second book is doubly awesome because Christopher ramps up the action, ramps up the stakes, makes everything a billion times more epic as Hadrian goes off into the galaxy with his sort of team of friends and Valka, his sort of, I don't know if I really call it girlfriend or whatever, but they go off in search of, and there's a lot of alien races in this, and there's a lot of different planets and a lot of different sort of It's just an intergalactic space opera with all of the competing factions of an intergalactic space opera that you would find, but with the detail and world building of Dune. I mean, these are not light, breezy Star Wars Legends type reads. These are, I mean, you've got to pay attention to this just as much as you pay attention to Dune, because it is that dense, that populated with just detail after detail. I mean, like, you step onto a starship and you spend time on a starship that Christopher Ruocchio, that's right, Ruocchio, the way he describes a starship, I mean, you can smell the inside of that. That's how cool his writing is. When you're on a starship, you can smell the smells. You can see what this starship is like. You know what it's like to fly across the galaxy on this starship. It's just amazing. And I'm not getting into a lot of the plot because there's a ton of characters. This is like, there's a lot of characters in these books. There's a lot of adventures. There's a lot of plot. There's a lot of just danger after danger after danger, plot twist after plot twist, betrayal after betrayal. I can't get into all of that. I keep my reviews fairly simple. I don't do plot spoilers. I'm just telling you that this book goes into some dark, dark territory where we're out in the galaxy seeking out some stuff. And the themes of this book, we are seeking out the ultimate evil in the universe. I mean, God, are we looking for God? Are we looking for Satan? I mean, there's some real philosophical discussions in this book. I mean, we go into death. I don't want to get into like a lot of what happens at the end, but oh my God, the end is just like, I was riveted to the end of this book, just like, what am I reading? This is crazy, epic, like space opera, dark mayhem. I mean, and we explore life, death, immortality, all just within the last quarter of this book. And I was blown away. I mean, I haven't been this blown away by a science fiction series since Dune. And I'm going to tell you right now, I did my top 30 science fiction series list a few months ago, where I counted down my top 30 science fictions, and this was in the top 10. After rereading this, because I'm rereading this one to get prepared for book 3, which just came out. I'm going to read that soon and review it. I wanted to reread this to just refresh myself, and after rereading this, I was like, oh my gosh, I know I put this in the top 10, but if I was to do that top 10 list again, this might be creeping up from, I think it was 8 or 9 or something. This might be creeping up to like number 3 or 4 on the list. That's how awesome it is. It's just, I think this is going to sit on everyone's science fiction list next to Dune. And Christopher Ruocchio, Mr. Ruocchio, is just a kid. He's only like 25 years old. And he's got these 3 fucking books that are gonna be as iconic as Dune. 25 years old. He's got another 50 years of writing ahead of him. I mean, you jump on board now, because this guy is going to be a superstar in the field. These 3 books are amazing. I guess the only drawback, the only negative thing I can say, and it's actually more of a positive, but it's a negative, is this series is told in the first person perspective from our main character, Hadrian. So everything that's happening, we only get to see through his eyes. And I'm telling you, I wish I could see everything through everyone's eyes. I wish I was jumping from different characters to different characters, because we only get to see it. I mean, it's like Name of the Wind. You only get to see things through Quoth's or whatever eye perspective, and that's the same with this series, and I'm sure that Chris has done it that way for a reason, which is fine, because I love his voice. I love Hadrian's voice, and unlike Name of the Wind, where it seems like Quoth just is a sort of a Mary Sue and solves all the problems so easily, and he's just the best at everything he does. Hadrian in this book goes through some hell. And he's kind of a douchebag a lot of the times. And he's just... Christopher puts his main character through some gruesome, heart-wrenching, awful things. And you just wonder, because you know it's going to be a long series, and you know he's survived everything because he's writing his memoirs. These are kind of like his memoirs. And you know he's survived everything, but you're just like, no, he's not surviving anything, because he's just going to be traumatized along with the reader. Hey man, if you want to read what I'm telling you right now is going to be one of the classics in the science fiction world for years to come, you got to start reading Christopher Ruoccio's Sun Eater series. 3 books out so far. I know the series is planned for many more books. You got to start with it. They are not standalone adventures. I will tell you that right now. They are not standalone adventures. You got to read them much like Wheel of Time. You got to read them one after the other, because it is an adventure that just goes, it's just an adventure, and he just stops, and then you pick it up in the next one and the next one. They're not really tied up in the end too much. I mean, kind of, but not anything, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a series. If you guys are watching this channel, you've read book series before, so you know what I'm getting at. I'm going to tell you, Howling Dark, Empire of Silence, they're 10s out of 10s. 10s out of 10s. At this point, I can't remember exactly what rating I gave this, but after rereading this and realizing just how fucking spectacular this series is, 10s out of 10s. They're on the level with Dune. They're up there with Dune. They're up there with all the great classics. Howling Dark, the Sun Eater Saga, Book 2, by Christopher Ruocchio. That's right, Ruocchio. Go get it. It is freaking awesome.